Today on Dice to Pixels, I'm partially deaf from joining a band. Adrian's been working away on some woodwork and stuff. Sarah's knitting a whole bunch of cool swag, but we still got time for games.
And we have time for talking about games.
We do.
Indeed, we do.
Yeah, so that's important. So I think we should start with the little big news about Toys for Bob.
Yeah, Toys for Bob, the developer behind the Crash and Spyro remakes, as well as Crash Bandicoot 4 and CTR, they've decided to say goodbye to Activision, and they're going independent.
Yeah. So they basically, we won't bore you with the entire statement because there kind of wasn't one anyways. But in essence, they got bought quite a while ago by Activision.
Mm-hmm.
Activision, over the course of a handful of years, basically redirected everybody to Call of Duty, which is not what they wanted to do in the first place. And then when Microsoft bought Activision, when that merger happened, and did all of the layoffs, which were mostly deduplication, but not entirely. Apparently, that studio got hit pretty hard, and one of their offices got closed. And at that point, they just kind of like, okay, fuck this, we're out.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. I mean, who wants to work on Call of Duty? And that's not, by the way, I'm not like throwing shade at Call of Duty. It's not my cup of tea, but one of the most boring things I can imagine in the gaming sphere is working on that sort of game. Same with like a FIFA game or something. It's like, let's work on this year's version of the same fucking game.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's good for players or not, as a developer, that must be just
boring.
Purgatory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
like, you look at some of these studios, Criterion's one, for example, they made the Burnout series of racing games, which were freaking great. Like, they were so fun.
Yeah.
And when EA scooped them up, they started making the Need for Speed games.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I get it, right? Like, they're predominantly good at racing games. They did do one shooter called Black, which they called gun porn, and it pretty much was. But yeah, it's... you see, even the developer of Madden, I can't think of the name of the developer of the Madden games off the top of my head, but they've been doing Madden forever.
Yeah, and it must get very, very boring.
Yeah.
Like, at least with games like World of Warcraft, each expansion is its own sort of like thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're all different. I mean, they're different to a degree.
Yeah.
But there's at least some uniqueness with them. There's new mechanics. There's new everything. And I'm sure that Call of Duty fans would tell me I'm an idiot and there's tons of different mechanics and everything else. But from a development perspective, I can pretty much guarantee that those mechanics are written in like a couple of days by a dude or two. Like just the development cycle for those games must be horrible.
Yeah.
just boring as hell.
Yeah.
So I don't blame them for wanting to get out of that treadmill.
But and they're a good studio. Like I'm really looking forward to them coming up with their own IP insofar as like a 3D platformer and along the lines of like Crash Bandicoot or Spyro or something like that. Like Crash Bandicoot 4 lived up to its predecessors like Naughty Dog when they made that. And it stuck to its roots. It was a really difficult, it's in some parts, like every Crash game, there's always like certain levels or worlds that are hard as hell. And this one stuck true to it. But they're a great studio. They have incredible talent there. And if they can come up with their own stuff, hell yeah, man, I'm all for it. I want to see this.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, not that we'll probably ever find out about this, but it'd be interesting to see what the restrictions are, because I'm sure that all of the IP that they worked on previously is now owned by Microsoft.
Yeah.
So they'll have to come up with something new, and usually there's some level of non-compete involved, that sort of thing. Now, knowing what I know about the software industry in general, I assume it's similar in the gaming sphere. Traditionally, non-compete clauses on exits, which are legally dubious in the first place, but they usually only last for a year. So they could easily go and work on a generic engine for a year.
Yeah.
And then release, in 2025, they could release.
I was just going to say, like, it's probably long enough for them to make something. And then when the non-compete is complete, then they can just be like, here, world.
Yeah. Like, you can always kind of play that game a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that they, not to expect anything right away, obviously. So it may not be that big a deal, even if they are bound by some non-compete stuff. But it will be interesting to see what they end up doing.
Hell yeah. And we wish them nothing but good vibes and good luck.
Yeah. I support anybody going from, like, behemoth, repetitive game industry to indie developer. I think that's great. Although, I mean, at that point, calling them an indie developer is maybe a little bit of a misnomer.
Well, there was even a little bit in here saying that they might be exploring a possible partnership with Microsoft.
Yeah. Well, partnership can mean anything, right? Like, that could just mean that they want to bring their games to Game Pass, right?
Yeah. Which is fine.
I as a new studio, if you have the kind of clout that you could actually get Microsoft's ear, getting a deal where your first ever game as a studio launches to Game Pass would be pretty sweet.
Yeah. Yep.
That'd be a great place to start.
Burrs.
And that's probably the sort of thing that they're talking about.
Hell yeah.
Cool. Did you want to talk about Pacific Rim?
Pacific Drive.
Pacific Drive.
So yeah,
Pacific Rim is the movie.
Different thing. Is it a game too? Did they?
They probably.
I
think they.
I don't know.
But the movie is what I watched. Yes. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, Pacific Drive. Definitely not what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like a roguelike endless driver where you're just trying to kind of get from one point to another and beat the world and just kind of deal with a bunch of shit. No, there's some survival crafting elements in there as well.
I kind of figured there would be.
Yeah, Sarah's actually played it way the hell more than I have.
Yeah,
so.
well, it's more my style of game. So like
now is it like get to a place and like go off and camp for the night survival crafting, or is it like you need to repair shit on the way?
For your car.
Yeah, so you're scavenging parts to upgrade your car to get to other spots.
That's what I figured.
But you also can't stay in the place because there's like psychic storms and stuff, and you're avoiding what are called remnants, which are
zombies.
Well, no, because
spirit zombies.
Some of them, it's just like weird electricity shows up, or chunks of the ground just become pillars.
Yeah.
Or there's drive test dummies that kind of show up out of nowhere, and it's very Don't Blink angels from Doctor Who, and they just kind of move on you when you're not expecting.
This sounds kind of fun.
I think you would like it. It sounds very you.
Okay, all right.
It's on Steam. Yeah. Steam and PS5.
How much is it? Is it like indie price or AAA price?
No, it's
cheap. Mid price.
Okay.
I'm gonna go out on a limb without looking it up first and say that
like
it is $49.
Yeah, something like that.
I've kind of sworn off AAA pricing.
Yeah.
It's hard to get your value. Well, okay, that's not fair. Let me qualify that because I'm sure somebody's gonna be like, "You're a dick."
You're a dick,
which I am. AAA games, like compared to say a movie, it's very easy to get your value for a AAA game.
Yeah.
Compared to an indie game, I like never get my value out of a AAA.
Yeah.
And mind you, that's easy to say that just indie games are underpriced. But hey, as long as they're underpriced, I'm probably going to give them my support. Like
exactly.
It's $40 Canadian.
Yeah. Okay. That's not too bad.
Yeah. I think that's a perfectly reasonable price for what it is because it looks really good too.
Yeah. That's a good like high end indie price. Yep. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't have a problem with games being more than that if they're good. But there's a trade-off there. We've talked about it before where it's like you can get a great game for $15-$20 or like a slightly better game for $80. It's like, well,
or you get some games that are completely free and are really, really good.
Also happens. Yeah. So,
but yeah, Sarah, I started playing it and then I was a little turned off by the whole, the one thing that was pissing me off was like having to hold the button so long because you actually have to like start the car, turn the key, and then put it into drive. But you have to like hold the button and it's like a kind of shit. So that was annoying me at first, but there's an option where you can change that where it's just like,
Oh,
button press.
But that's, I think, was that not just for turning the car on?
Turning the car on and putting it in park drive.
Oh my God, I need it for park drive because that's the one I just expect to like click it. I don't mind holding to start the car because I drive and I'm used to that, but shifting takes a while.
The other thing it kind of irks me, and it's not game breaking and all, but me being like a 60 frame per second kind of performance mode kind of gamer now, it has no options to like put it at 60 frames or to put it in a certain specific mode. I think it's like always, it looks like it's always running in 30, which is weird.
It's mostly okay, like, because I'm used to playing at 30 frames. It doesn't bother me, other than there's been a few times where there's been a lot going on and it's been kind of jittery and slowing down a little bit. So, but I don't know if that has to do with the Xbox or the frame rate.
No, well, it's not Xbox, it's PlayStation.
Oh, I knew that.
Yeah, I know you did. That was a DualSense controller you were holding on.
I was gonna say it's that is one thing that consoles still struggle with when it comes to sort of more indie games is the performance.
Yeah.
Not that there aren't AAA games that experience performance problems, but it's pretty common in some of the indie games that are full 3D worlds that you experience some frame loss. And it sucks. It's not great. I admit that's why a lot of the indie gaming I do is PC or Game Pass, where it's like, wow, it was free. Wow, free. I mean, I try not to think of Game Pass as free because it's not, but the individual games don't cost anything. No. So.
Yeah, so it's fun. Like you'll enjoy it. I'm gonna get into it some more, but the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth just came out today. Today being Thursday, you won't. It came out Thursday.
Yeah,
because you'll all be watching this Saturday, and I'm probably most definitely gonna pick it up because I really enjoyed the first remake. Part one of the remake.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before, and like as a standalone game, it was good. I was just very disappointed in the remake aspect.
Yeah. So
does the new one have an overworld?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, all right.
I don't know
because I've been mostly ignoring it.
Yeah, you were playing the demo the other day, weren't you?
Yeah, I touched the demo a bit, and it's.
It plays like you would expect.
I was like, I knew it was going to be something where I'm like, yeah, I'm buying this, and I'm going to buy it. Like, it annoys me that they want so fucking much for it.
Yeah, that's the other thing that left a sour taste in my mouth was like the first Rebirth. I did not feel like it was enough game for what it was. Not as a Final Fantasy game. Yeah. There are genres that I might or titles that I might expect that from. I expected more out of a Final Fantasy game, especially one that was as hyped as that was.
I'll probably end up get it. I'll chances are I've already played it come Saturday. Because Friday night.
All of it?
Huh?
All of it?
Oh yeah, I'll stay up all night.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So
Cool. What have you been playing, Sarah?
Well, Pacific Drive for one.
Yeah.
And then I've also been playing Golden Sun. I think I've been playing that for off and on for the last few weeks.
Yeah, you picked that up a while ago.
Yeah. I'm just, plugging away at it slowly. Cool. I like it. It's good.
Cool.
I finally got to play some more Helldivers too, so.
Yeah, I got in briefly. Yeah. It is better now.
Oh yeah.
Like they did fix it.
Yep.
Mostly.
Yep.
It's good. I still haven't actually had like a proper Helldivers experience, like got online with other people and played it. But
so that's been my thing too, is like when I get the chance, because I've been trying to learn some songs for, like I said, this band that I've joined. And I've been trying to like learn songs on my own so that I'm not going in blind. And I haven't, whenever I have turned on the PlayStation, it's like, oh, let's play some Helldivers. And like none of my friends are online. And I really don't. I don't mind going in and then just like joining a random group, but it's like, fuck man. Like when I first played with my buddies from the Forever Gaming Clan and we were just having a blast. I do mind playing with a random group. I find it materially diminishes the game in a big way.
Yep.
It doesn't make it like bad, but It's so not as good. And I say this not specifically about Helldivers too, because I haven't had a proper experience without it. But any game ever where you're joining random groups is just, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not that good.
I can compare it to World of Warcraft pickup.
You're looking for groups, yeah.
Yeah. It's like
very rarely works out.
I mean, well, I was always the healer, so at least I knew how to do my job.
Well, like
but,
there's like works out, and there's
then,
like actually works out.
Yeah.
So my biggest thing was the communication, because like I said, some of the people that we're grouped up with, we have, and it's something that we did back in Destiny. We did it in the Division, like almost any like multiplayer game. There was always communication.
Yep.
I find that so if like we drop down and we bring up the map, it's like, okay, well, if we go northeast here and hit this point, we can kind of circle around the entire way and get all of these blah blah blah, and then come down here for extraction. Rah, rah, rah. Good. And we have a game plan. We communicate, like 3:00 bugs, whatever, and that kind of thing. Joining a group of randoms, there's always going to be like those one or two individuals that fuck off and go do other things. And then you're just sitting there, working the objective, and you see like, okay, when did we do that?
Yeah.
And you're getting credit for stuff that you didn't even do or didn't have a part in. It's not really FOMO, but it's like you're just missing out on
the group experience.
The group experience.
It's also it's ineffective, right? So I used to play PlanetSide back in the day. Still one of the best games ever made. It was just a global war that you were just fighting on one of 3 factions. Stupidly good game. When I was playing with clanmates at the time, we would group up and we would have, even if it was just like 3 or 4 of us playing, we would be able to take on full bore, like 3 of us could take on as ground troops, could take on full on vehicles, no problem at all.
Yeah.
You try that with like a group of like 8 randoms and you will all die because there's no coordination whatsoever. And so it's just, yes, I could play the game at 10% effectiveness by playing with randoms, but then I'm not really getting, like, it's not like the people developing and testing the game are playing with randoms. They're playing with people probably in the same room as them. Because that's how testing works.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure they do testing with like random, group stuff and everything else to make sure it works. But the game is designed by people who know how to play it together, etc. And so anytime you're screwing around with random groupings, it's just you're playing the game not the way it was designed.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's the way it was intended, it is not the way it was designed. Yeah. And that shows.
I think even if it's technically supposed to be played as intended that way, it's not, but it's not at the same time.
Right. Like there's like whether or not they intended you to be able to do that and have fun. Yeah. And there's whether or not it was designed that way. Yeah. And those are not the same thing.
No, exactly. Like, because even if it was designed and intended to be played with random people all the time, it's not as fun as with people that you know. Because the same way that you've talked about how much fun you had as a kid growing up with LAN parties and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and, couch co-op and how much fun that is too. It's like, it's the dynamic of the group. So you're focusing on the game itself as well as like whatever other stupid shit you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So,
yeah. And yes, we know this is probably like the 3rd episode in a row that we've talked about Helldivers 2, but it's a good fucking game. So live with it.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Actually, this is what happens when you're not sponsored by game studios that give you free games all the time.
That's true.
It's true. Speaking of good games, there's another one that dropped that's in the Survivor genre called Geometry Survivor. Did you ever play Geometry Wars?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Geometry Wars 1 and 2 were... so it started off originally as a bonus game in, I think, Project Gotham Racing, like back during the 360 era. And then they ended up making it its own game. It's just a little twin stick shooter where you're flying around as a geometric shape shooting other geometric shapes, and it's
Okay,
ocular.
I've seen it. Yeah,
It's an ocular overload for your set, but
I've
it's
seen this,
so fun. It was so fun. So anyway, they've come out with Geometry Survivor now, which is basically a survivor where you're still at geometric shape, but you're just flying around and you're picking up your power ups. Like in Vampire Survivors, you gain experience and you get different power ups and power them up or whatever.
Okay,
and you just have to last 20 minutes, and it's really, really, really freaking fun.
Well, because Vampire Survivors is fun, and so when you add
it was our
that
22
plus,
game of the year.
Yeah,
so.
when you add that plus a game that you also like from before, then even better.
And it's cheap. It's not ridiculously expensive either. So I think it's like $10 Canadian.
Perhaps I will check it out.
It's really, really. I think it's, as far as I'm aware, it is on every. Yeah, it's on. It's on everything. So, and right now it's 10% off on Steam.
Can I play it on this can of Monster?
Yes, it's $6.49.
I don't know if he actually listened to you.
I don't think he did.
You just got to plug it in. Make sure you have the right hookups.
That's right.
It's HDMI. But no, it's really fun. It's again, the survivors. Just watch the video. It's fucking nuts.
I'll add it to my list. I got a bunch of stuff that I'm playing through right now, but eventually I'll be looking for a new game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of Pandemic Legacy. We're 3/4 of the way through, I think.
Nice.
Damn.
We've been playing like multiple rounds a night, most nights.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe not most nights, but when we play it, we've usually been doing like 3, maybe even 4.
Oh, wow.
So we've blitzed through a lot of it.
Yeah.
It's really good. I can't say that I have found anything I dislike about it, other than occasionally you just get absolutely fuckered by the like random number generator, so to speak. But it's super, super fun. And then I played, I was over at my buddy Aaron's. Hi,
Aaron.
Hi, Aaron. We were over there and we played a couple of different games. One was called, I think it was called Dutch Blitz. It's 4 decks of cards.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was totally somewhere else. I thought Dutch Blitz, and it was just like a bunch of guys shitting and like crop dusting their wives or something, Dutch ovening them. And
that is a strange place to go, sir.
Wow.
I know.
He did just get back from being practiced.
Yeah,
so.
there you go.
Yeah.
So you have 4 decks of cards, each with 4 suits in them, and the numbers 0 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's colors, not suits, but same difference. And it's communal in the center. You just play 1s and then you can play 2s on them and 3, but it's happening all at the same time. There's no turns. It's literally just like if you can get your 2 on that 1 first, you get it, and anyone else can go fuck themselves.
Ooh.
Oh, I've seen this.
And then whoever
stores, yeah.
exhausts their blitz pile, their reserve of 10 cards first, calls it out, and anyone who didn't finish theirs loses points according to how many cards are left.
Ooh.
It's very fun. I destroyed them. It was unbalanced. I was much better at it than everyone else at the table. But a really cool game and very like fast paced. I usually hate games like that, which is why I'm mentioning it. Because like the games that are just frantic, like whoever's like fastest, I just find they sort of devolve into like
6-year-olds playing.
Yeah. Like rage, spiteful, horrible games.
Yeah, but I mean, it also promotes paying attention.
Yes, you will not succeed in this game if you don't pay attention. That's for damn sure. But normally I dislike those games. But this one, and it wasn't because I did well at it. It's just because there's a lot going on. So I find a lot of those games, it's like there's like one communal pool that is just like, oh my God, like everybody lunge for the middle of the table. This is more like you start with none, but by the end of the game, by the end of the round, there's like probably maybe even a dozen different piles. So you could either try and focus on all of them, or you can like kind of focus on just the ones near you or whatever. But there's enough spread that everybody can kind of do their thing without slapping each other in the face and calling each other.
Fuck, I want to do that.
I might have to bleep that one. Yeah, so that was fun. And then the other game that we played was called Grizzled, which is a World War One game. It was hard. We did not win.
No?
You play cards according to like trials, which are like shells, gas masks, whistles, like just vaguely war-y things.
Yep.
And you can't have 3 matching environments or threats. But then like you also get hard knocks, which are like you're traumatized by shells, you're traumatized by rain, you're traumatized,
Shit.
and then like additional restrictions on what you can do. Yeah, hardest game I've played in a long time. So I'm gonna have to. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Shit.
I'm gonna have to. We'll definitely play it again the next time we get together because I want to beat it. And we were playing it not on easy but normal. There's like a harder level, and I'm like, yeah, no, come on, you can't even beat the normal level, let alone the hard one. Give me a break. So
Nice.
So that was fun. I've been doing a lot more board gaming the last little while than video gaming. So.
Yeah, I think we would too, but we'd only do that when we're together with you and Danielle. So
yeah, and by the time we get done with this, it's usually getting on Chad's bedtime.
Yep.
Well,
No,
you were
man.
fucking tired tonight too. Don't we-
Yeah, that's why I have not sponsored.
That's why I also have not sponsored.
There you go. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, the super fun. I've been enjoying the board games, getting
Yeah.
back to them a little bit, and
Yeah,
we
we-
also played some Star Trek board games the other night.
Nice.
We still got to bring over some cards and stuff so we can play some card games that we usually play with the in-laws. And
Yeah,
stuff like that.
I was supposed to have a brick of cards coming, but I don't know what happened with them. I'll have to check in on that.
Someone build a house instead
Maybe,
with them.
bastards.
maybe.
Cool.
Yeah, that Dutch Bliss game. I've seen it in like Walmart a lot.
Yeah.
and,
Like I think it's a
in
very
every
old
game.
and common
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Right on. Well, if there's any quirky little card game or board games that you've all played out there, tell us about it. Should we try them? Are we going to have fun with it? Are we going to swear at each other? Are we going to hate each other at the end of it? Let us know.
Yes, we will. Wait, does it count if we hate each other at the start of it and then also hate each other at the end of it? Does that count? Or
I want an enemies to lovers game, please.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Instead of rags to riches, it's just like house to rooftop puddle party.
yeah, Jeffrey's Palace.
Ooh.
All right. Cheers, everyone. We love you.
And yes, it says what it says.